Yesterday, Jim Acosta was doing his job at the White House, which is basically to show up on camera and show his bouffant to the world. And Jim Acosta, as I've said many times in the past, Jim Acosta, CNN's White House correspondent, get you somebody who loves you like Jim Acosta loves Jim Acosta. That dude loves him some Jim Acosta. I mean, if we could retell the modern myth of Narcissus, Jim Acosta would be in the starring role. So Jim Acosta gets into it with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Why? Because President Trump has done his routine again where he calls the press the enemy of the people. Now, as I have said, approximately 1,273,322 times on the show, I don't think the media are the enemy of the people. I think this is a silly line from the president. I think the media lie a fair bit. I think, more importantly, the media unconsciously bias their stories in leftward directions a fair bit. I think I think you have to double check the media's work on a routine basis and try and separate the opinion from the fact in their news stories. I think that's your job as a consumer of news. So I'm fully aware of media bias. And so President Trump isn't wrong about that. But when he says enemy of the people, not my favorite term, because it does have certain connotations that are just not correct. Okay. They're not the enemy of the people. They are just biased sources for a truth they think they are purveying when they purport to be objective. In any case, Jim Acosta has now made a pretty solid living off of acting like he is victimized by the American people who don't trust him. Now, the reason we don't trust Jim Acosta is not because Trump said enemy of the people. This is such a left-wing myth that the right wing, we actually loved the media until President Trump came around. Then Trump came around, he said mean stuff about the media, and then we were all like, oh man, those guys do suck. Okay. In like 2001, I think, Bernard Goldberg wrote a book called Bias, about bias in the media. It was a #1 New York Times bestseller because everyone on the right has hated the media for decades. Because the media are wildly biased and always have been, certainly as long as I've been alive. So the media has been biased for literally generations in the United States. It's not that Trump made us hate the media. It's that we hated the media and then Trump took advantage of the fact that we hated the media. That's exactly what happened in election 2016. But in any case, Jim Acosta now makes a living going around pretending that history started in the last 15 minutes and that now the right hates the media and we don't like Jim Acosta, not because Jim Acosta's bad at his job, which he is, spoiler alert, but also that we really hate the media because Donald Trump is a big old meanie. So he goes to the White House and he decides he's going to sit there and he's going to grill Sarah Huckabee Sanders, the White House press secretary, over whether the media are the enemies of the people. Now, before I show you the clip, remember what Sarah Huckabee Sanders' job is. Her job is not to express the opinions of Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Right? That is specifically not her opinion. This is why somebody from the White House once asked me, would I be interested in working for the White House press office, which is hilarious. And my answer was, of course, no, because I prefer to express my own opinion, not the opinion of the president. Her job is to express the president's opinion. It is not her job to express her own opinion or Jim Acosta's opinion or anybody else's opinion. And if she did that, she would not be doing her job. Jim Acosta suggests to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I need you, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, to tell me that the media are not the enemy of the people. But that's not her job. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I think, clocks him pretty good. He has this coming.
You did not say in the course of those remarks that you just made that the press is not the enemy of the people. For the sake of this room, the people who are in this room, this democracy, this country, all the people around the world are watching what you're saying, Sarah. And the White House for the United States of America, the President of the United States should not refer to us as the enemy of the people. His own daughter acknowledges that. And all I'm asking you to do, Sarah, is to acknowledge that right now and right here.
I appreciate your passion. I share it. I've addressed this question. I've addressed my personal feelings. I'm here to speak on behalf of the president. He's made his comments clear.
Okay, and she's exactly right. That is, in fact, her job. Right? Her job is not to reflect what Jim Acosta wants to say or what Sarah Huckabee Sanders wants to say. Sarah Huckabee Sanders is not an elected official. She works at the pleasure of the President of the United States. End of story. Now, do I like what Trump says? No. Again, I would bet you money that if you got Sarah Huckabee Sanders on the phone off the record right now, she would tell you the same thing. I'll bet you that she doesn't like that line either. But does that matter? No, because that's not her job. And the whole point, and Acosta knows that's not her job, and his whole point here is to somehow shame Sarah Huckabee Sanders as an individual human being. If he wants to go out and yell this question to Trump, go and yell it at Trump. You want to grill Sarah Huckabee Sanders over Trump's perspective, do that. But to make Sarah Huckabee Sanders the enemy here is pretty absurd. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders has another response that is just as good. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, she then goes off on CNN. Sarah Huckabee Sanders basically wheels around with a George Foreman-like punch and knocks Jim Acosta through the wall, mentioning the fact that, while you talk about how the press are the victims of the President of the United States, you guys have been pretty awful to Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Here's Sarah Huckabee Sanders explaining.
Repeatedly, the media resorts to personal attacks without any content other than to incite anger. The media has attacked me personally on a number of occasions, including your own network, said I should be harassed as a life sentence, that I should be choked. ICE officials are not welcomed in their place of worship, and personal information is shared on the internet. When I was hosted by the Correspondents Association, of which almost all of you are members of, you brought a comedian up to attack my appearance and call me a traitor to my own gender. In fact, as I know, as far as I know, I'm the first press secretary in the history of the United States that's required Secret Service protection. The media continues to ratchet up the verbal assault against the president and everyone in this administration. And certainly we have a role to play, but the media has a role to play for the discourse in this country as well.
That is 100% true. Okay, what she says there, that the media have been complicit in the failures of trust and the battle between the media and President Trump is exactly right. And then, so what does Jim Acosta do with this information? Jim Acosta, who loves him some Jim Acosta, what does he do with this information where he's been told, you guys might want to stop creating a situation where I need security by Sarah Huckabee Sanders. You might want to create a situation where you treat people fairly, and then maybe there won't be so many people who are willing to treat you unfairly. Maybe we all ought to go weapons down. So what does Jim Acosta do? He goes on TV and he preens. Right? He goes on CNN and he preens, says, we should make bumper stickers. Because he's a reporter, guys, an objective news reporter. This is some serious journalisming you are seeing right here.
Well, I think, maybe we should make some bumper stickers, make some buttons. Maybe we should go out on Pennsylvania Avenue like these folks who chant CNN sucks and fake news. Maybe we should go out, all journalists should go out on Pennsylvania Avenue and chant, we're not the enemy of the people.
It's a bad chant. It's a bad chant. Also, if you really, that'll definitely work, Jim. That will definitely work. We don't trust you at all. So I think what you should really do, and we don't trust you in large part because of your disparate treatment of Democrats and Republicans. So I think what you really should do is you should probably go out in front of the White House where a Republican resides, and then you should chant, you're not the enemy of the people, in opposition to Donald Trump supporters. Absolutely will respect you more then. You shouldn't do better in terms of your journalisming. You shouldn't actually try to be more objective. You shouldn't try to worship yourself a little bit less, Jim Acosta. Instead, what you should do is you should go out there and chant about how awesome you are. That'll probably fix all the things. Okay, this is just Jim Acosta catering to his base. Now, again, President Trump caters to his base too. The difference is what their jobs are. President Trump is a politician. President Trump says a lot of things to cater to his base that I don't agree with and that I find abhorrent in many cases. But he is a politician catering to a base. Jim Acosta's job is not to cater to his base. Jim Acosta's job is to ask questions of administrations that actually have content. His job is not to be an activist. If he wants to be an activist, there are plenty of places for him to do that. If he wants to do opinion journalism, then he should just say, I'm an opinion journalist. I, Ben Shapiro, am an opinion journalist, right? I cover the news and I have an opinion. And you all know where I stand. I'm not hiding the ball. The reason people don't trust Jim Acosta is not because he's left-wing. The reason people don't trust Jim Acosta is because he proclaims he is not left-wing while acting exactly like a correspondent for the Daily Kos.